Do you remember where you were when the world shifted for everybody?
Yeah. So, and I actually asked a question about this on Facebook because I noticed that people started talking about their date. And I was like, does everybody know their date? And I posted, I said, I'm just curious. Like, it seems like everyone knows a date. And like 90 people responded with their date and why and when. And I thought, oh, that's so interesting. We're all going to have this almost like, everyone of a certain generation can tell you exactly where they were when they found out Kennedy was shot, like
Yeah.
those kind, or
Or,
9/11. We have these very distinct memories.
or Challenger.
And what, yeah, or Challenger, exactly,
Yep.
exactly. And so we don't all have them around a certain date. It's a different date, but it's still very, very like point in time. And yeah, I have a client who is a data visualization expert, deep into kinds of stuff. So he had me appropriately terrified by like mid-February. So we were kind of on the early end, and for us, it was March 5th was our day that we stopped going to certain places. We stopped having my elderly mother-in-law come over a couple times a week. It's just that was when we began what I would consider the beginning of our lockdownish
Yeah,
time.
I remember mine. I think it was March 12th, 11 or 12th.
Yeah.
And I'd flown to work with a client in San Francisco. And San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco was still kind of open. I mean, there was still stuff
Mm-hmm.
going on. And then from the Thursday to the Friday, everything just shut down. Everything just
Yeah.
flipped. And it was the most surreal experience to be, when,
And the best part about that is that's not even a tangent because holy cow, talk about decisions. I mean, now we've become kind of adjusted to this, but in February and March and April, now that I do instead of like coaching or facilitation, mostly like decision support for leaders and leadership teams and whatnot. It was just a barrage. Like I think every client I'd ever had was calling me to like talk a thing through because it was unheard of to think of sending everyone home. It felt like such a big scary decision that, I mean, let's be honest, you were afraid of being an idiot, looking like an idiot for overreacting or underreacting. And you weren't
totally.
sure which was more risky and which would be more embarrassing or dangerous or there wasn't a way to know. And running companies or growing, raising children, everything in the world actually had far more uncertainty than I think we ever really were willing to acknowledge before all of this. And it's like the pandemic shoved it to the forefront where you could not ignore uncertainty. And it was paralyzing for a great number of people who were used to navigating by what felt like certainty.
Yeah.
And it's just, if there are very few silver linings of the last year, but I do feel like two things have come out of it for those who have kind of taken on this work over the past year. And one is getting some people I think have, a lot of people have gotten more comfortable with uncertainty, a little bit more agile in their decision making, and not as like white knuckle afraid of making the wrong decision because they realize you don't really have that luxury. You just kind of have to stab your way forward and learn to navigate, which is actually really a useful way to do
Mm.
life. And then also, as a totally separate topic, boundaries. I think we've all
Mm.
sort of upped our boundary skills of saying, no, I'm not comfortable doing that, or please step back a few feet, or wherever your boundaries are. And so those two things, I hope, will find their way into the after times, as my friends and I have. There's the before times and the after times.